Dak Prescott suffered a thumb injury in Week 1 that required surgery. Cooper Rush started Week 2 and led the Cowboys to a last-second win over the Bengals. Could there actually be a controversy as to Rush playing when Prescott is healthy? Here's Dr. Jerry Jones on that point.
Okay, wouldn't it be something if you had a dilemma as to which way you go? You do that if he gets 10 wins. Same thing had happened with Prescott. I think like that.
So you'd want that? You'd want that controversy?
Of course I would.
Okay.
Of course that means we'd won. If it comes in there and played as well as Prescott played, Rush played that well over these next games ahead, I'd walk New York to get there.
Do you think he can do that?
Well, I don't know that, but I would. You can't find on record where I said I thought Dak Prescott could do it when he stepped in and had the chance to do that, but he did it.
Oh, you gotta love Jerry Jones, and if I'm Dak Prescott, I'm not happy with that soundbite, although I just kind of shrug at it. That's just kind of Jerry being Jerry.
Yeah.
Before we ever get to the point where we're having the conversation, and Peter, you talked earlier about the cart before the horse. That's Jerry pushing the cart down the hallway with his nose there. I mean, he's already fascinated with the possibility that Cooper Rush is going to be a guy that just drops out of the sky and becomes the next Cowboys starting quarterback. I think we're a long way away from that, but it is amazing that he's willing to muse about it out loud.
The question that you asked before about Jacoby Brissett, okay? And, what if the Browns are 8-2 in December in Week 11? What if they're 8-2 entering their 11th game? What do? Now, you have to ask that question. Mike, when Dak Prescott was the 135th pick, I think that was the number, when he was the 135th pick in the draft in 2016, when Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones tried their rear ends off and made, because I saw it, 19 phone calls to teams to try to trade up to get Paxton Lynch in the first round of the 2016 draft. Couldn't do so. And then tried to get Connor Cook with the first pick of the 4th round. Couldn't do so. And so they had to settle for Dak Prescott, air quotes. So they had to settle for Dak Prescott, and then Prescott comes in, excuse me, and all of a sudden he has to play when Tony Romo goes down. Who'd have ever thought in a jillion years that when Tony Romo was healthy, he wouldn't have his job anymore, that they would stick with Dak Prescott? It's the exact same situation here. Nobody could envision a scenario where Cooper Rush runs the table and makes it a decision. Or, hey, Dak, you don't have to hurry back. Don't worry. We're fine. Football history is littered with guys who have taken advantage of a chance that you never, ever thought. Who would have thought, other than, as it turns out, Bill Belichick, who would have ever thought in 2001 that Tom Brady in week 2 or 3, whatever it was, would take over for Drew Bledsoe, and Bledsoe would be exiled to Buffalo a year later because there was no room at the inn for him in Foxborough? I mean, it's highly, highly unlikely, and it's very Jerry to raise the possibility after one win, okay? But that's what Jerry Jones does. And as my friend Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports said on Twitter yesterday, don't you all understand how Jerry has made his team into an $8 billion enterprise? Because in the middle of the week when nothing is happening, he shoves the Cowboys back at the top of the news cycle. That's just what he does. So don't take it like, whoa, boy, Cooper Kupp's going to beat out, Dak Prescott. Just take it as Jerry being Jerry.
Yeah, I think you're right. The difference in 2016 was they were looking for their next quarterback after Tony Romo. They knew he didn't have much time left. And so it became a natural transition because Romo never played for anyone after that. He retired. He was done.
Yes.
With Drew Bledsoe, it was different. He still had meat on the bone. He still kept playing. This is more of a Bledsoe-Brady than it is a Romo-Prescott. And you've got Prescott under contract for a couple more years. He's making $40 million a year. It's fully guaranteed, I believe. And the way the contract is structured, it puts the Cowboys in a tough spot. Now, would it be accurate to surmise that maybe the Cowboys still have hard feelings about how the Cowboys were put over a barrel by Dak Prescott in the negotiations and they had to pay top dollar? And if they could find somebody else a lot cheaper who is just as effective, they'd at least ponder it. I think there could be a little bit of that. But Cooper Rush has a long way to go to put himself in the conversation for potentially keeping Dak Prescott on the bench. And I think what would happen here, Peter, the old 100% rule would come into play. I mean, we've heard Jerry shortening the return time for Dak Prescott. If Cooper Rush keeps winning, I think they'll extend it, and we'll start hearing that Dak will play when he is fully and completely healthy and ready to go. And this is the point I made last week. Look, if Cooper Rush isn't going to be very good for you, you'll take Dak Prescott at some percentage below 100 over a fully healthy Cooper Rush. Well, that percentage goes up as Rush plays well. It's no longer 75. It's no longer 80. It's no longer 90. You're going to wait until it's truly 100 because this guy's getting it done, as long as he's getting it done. And we'll find out Monday night against the Giants, hostile environment, prime time. If Cooper Rush gets it done there, remember, he beat the Vikings in Minnesota. I think it was in Minnesota. Maybe it was in Dallas. I can't remember. I wish they would wear white at home, then I would always remember.
Halloween.
Okay, and then he beat Kirk Cousins there, and so he's already got one primetime win on his resume. If he gets another one, Dak Prescott will only play when he's 100%. I think that's what we'll hear at some point from Jerry Jones.
Mike, the reason why that this is, and again, look, none of us knows when Dak Prescott's going to be fully healthy. But I would just say this, in the immortal words of Laura King, when I was raising her, and she would just say, her biggest saying was, if I'd get upset with her, hey, Dad, I'm just saying. Okay? In the immortal words of Laura King, I'm just saying that the Dallas Cowboys, okay, in the next 6 games, who knows when Dak Prescott gets back? 4 of those games are against the Giants, Washington, Chicago, and Detroit. Are all those games winnable with Cooper Rush playing football? Yes, they are. Now, they also play the Rams in Philadelphia in that period. But this is a stretch of the schedule that they can win a couple of games. If they win the next 2, all of a sudden, Jerry Jones's statement takes on just a little bit more life.
And Cooper Rush last year on that Halloween game at Minnesota, it was indeed at Minnesota, he had 325 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception in a 2016 win over the Vikings. So we'll see what he can do Monday night against the Giants. When we return, show me something time for Week 3 of the 2022 NFL season. We'll do that next on PFT Live, presented by Google Pixel. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.